Alright, y'all, so Tory apparently has a new album leaked. It's definitely for sure. If you guys have seen it, it's called Loners. It's got 10 tracks. I'm gonna go ahead and play one track for y'all right here. Someone got the song uploaded on YouTube already. I believe this might be track number 2 or 3. It's titled Hidden. Let me go ahead and play it full through. You know what I mean? And then I'll give you guys my input afterwards.
Ain't no telling I flex. Fuck that, tell him I'm next. Back emailing my checks. Shade room telling my flex. You can never tell I'm stressed. Pack out the mail, it's fresh. Back out on bail, I'm blessed. I'm an original shooter. If you try to boot it, my niggas won't fail no test. I bought a hard piece. She wanna fuck on these Walmart sheets. Tell her take me to the mall, please. This they deserve it, a Montclair fleece. Bought my brand new bitch a Maltese. I'm ready to hunt from that Cromwell piece. Shorty, she said that she love me, she thuggin'. No matter, no running, no budget. She ballin', she fucking, I got it regardless. She fit to say I'm the hardest. You better not play at the party. I'll make my way to his shawty. She like the way that I want. She said that I'm gnarly. All in that kitchen, I'm chefing. I just don't bought me an effort. Don't need no stepper, I'm stepping. All in my drawer, I kept it. He thought he was sure, but I left him. Hey, damn, I'm going nuts on designer. None of my cousins from China. Boy, where the fuck did you find him? Fresh in this dough, check I'm buying. You think that I come with some powder? Hop in the Mazda, body then pop out like Tiger. You know my hoes by the day that they powder. Bitch, I'm a day that they shot her. I go through the race like I'm taking in case if I got it. They say I'm way too conceited. I pull up and fuck on lil' mama and beat it. I go grab another little bitch and repeat it. She wanted to suck it as soon as we meet it. That's crazy. Just went and bought a Mercedes. I'm pulling up smooth on the ladies. Damn, she gets the latest. I hit her like Ollie. She said I'm the greatest. I fucked on that pussy, but we never dated. They say I look like I got it. Push it on down to the wallet. I know they pay for they call it. Spinning out down, but I'm shooting the day they thought it. I used to swipe it. I'm way too fast every time. I'm under his nose when I wipe it. She putting my nuts when she chewing. Her boy keep calling her phone trying to see what she doing in the lane. Hey, it's a part of the game. I'm thugging, you know how I came. I'ma stay true to the game. If a nigga get hot, I'ma put out a flame. I only spend bread on my man. I'm on a mission to kill him. I catch him, let him, feel him. I know that he dead how I did him. They told him take off before I hit him. I caught him, I shot him, I pill him, he dead.
Alright, that's it. So I'm gonna give you guys my blunt input and be real with you. Musically, I think Tory's 1,000 times better than this. He has showcased that in the past with certain projects, certain records, where he really goes in and he can give you a very creative and artistic point of view. To me, I feel like he has yet to reach that point just yet currently. I don't think necessarily that doesn't mean he can't reach that, say 10 years down the road, but sometimes it's warranted to know what kind of progress you're making currently to understand what you got to do in the present to make sure the future still stays bright going forward. So I think that's the #1 reason why I'm doing this video in the first place, is to give solid and constructive criticism and feedback. To me, seeing that this type of joints are really being what's pushed tells me that it's like as if, like, one, the industry doesn't care, obviously, and they want to make money, and two, it's like as if there's like nothing else to really talk about anymore. It feels like as if any kind of wordplay or whatever lingo has been spoken, and that nobody knows what could be new or pop and what to create with, so they're just gonna settle with this. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lack of creativity and lyricism definitely plays a huge hand in the reason why music has regressed nowadays. And I could talk to folks, and a lot of folks are bumping 90s joints, or like some of their favorite artists' old past music or so, and I see a lot of people like to say, oh, it's based on nostalgia, but I like to argue a different case. I think personally it's due to the fact that the music was better, hands down. It's okay to have fun, it's okay to get loose. I'm not saying you can't be cocky, you can't be happy to do that, but it's like, it's about the way you approach it is what matters. And sometimes that's where you can cross the fine line between where you could be pretty unique and catchy to where, or someone might say you're biting, or like You know what I mean? And this has been a huge and thorough topic on Tory. Now, I think it's pretty burnt out at this point. However, I felt like he was wrongly accused of doing this when it first started popping up, especially when they were accusing him of sounding like Travis Scott. I mean, he used a similar vocal effect. If that's the case, I could say, oh, Chris Brown was definitely biting T-Pain on Kiss Kiss when he was using auto-tune. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it defeats the purpose. If you are using a similar instrument to what an artist is doing, that's one thing. If you're trying to sound and mimic the artist and be exactly like them, that's another. I never felt like Tory mimicked or tried to copy somebody else's move until I say past 2018, when he got fed up with it. And I think maybe as a form of retaliation out of spite, he started doing that shit. Either that or like how he kind of said in that Joe Budden interview, he's not hungry anymore and he doesn't care. So to me, him abandoning his dream of being the greatest to ever do it while having his own type of brand of music, you know what I mean? Like, pushing that dream aside is where I feel like created or started the snowball effect of a decline for Tory from a musical standpoint. Now, from a real life perspective, you could say he's definitely doing better for himself. He's got a son. He really is being a good doting father, being there to spend time with him. He's close with his father. I mean, you got to realize when he was during his come up days, he had some really tough, I don't even want to say tough, but like, what's what I want to say? An estranged relationship with his dad back then. Now, him and his dad are really cool with each other. So I want to say in his life, he has progressed better. But I cannot say the same thing about his music. But also, like, you know, everyone's going to bring up about the Meg case. I personally think it falls on Tory with the type of people that he allows himself to be around with. Certain people in certain ways, like, you can't act a certain type of, you know, action, you know what I mean? So, like, with how and what went down with Meg, I kind of explained the situation. Putting himself in that situation in the first place with a person who kind of has a lack of confidence in themselves, and in a sense, you know what I mean, like, is very insecure, and for you to pull some kind of blunt move like how he did with her is kind of like what could have led to her feeling very spiteful and angry towards you, and what led to her pretty much making these accusations that you shot her, even though I don't believe that you did, at least not intentionally. But that being said, that's for another video. I've already discussed that situation. I'm done. That's in the hatchet. I just personally think that right now, like, I think personally Tory needs to stop making music. Just hands down, just stop. If you want to live life, you want to go out, have vacations, do whatever, hang out, enjoy life. But I think musically, you're not there, you're not connected, because it's just where your mindset was at 4 years ago was at a bigger and better place than where you're at right now, you know. And a lot of people question you if you're real or not. Like, it's a lot of controversy. Even if you take out the Meg situation, when you think about it, you go to one song where he's basically boasting about what he's doing here, you know what I mean? Talking like a dude, you know, like a boss, or like, in a sense, talking about gang violence and all that. And in another song, you're going to go ahead and contradict it with Black power and all that. I mean, I feel like it's just, there's no sense of realism within what he's trying to promote or speak in his music. And to me, that's a huge red flag that I think a lot of people are sleeping on and are not even aware of. Like, you can just go back to how he was sounding 3 years ago, and he was definitely on a bigger platform with what he was talking about, with the type of music he was trying to make. Essentially, he was really repping for underdogs, talking about the hard times that he had to go through and what kept him motivated to keep going forward, to push through it. And nowadays, the last 2 years, he's at some point trying to recapture that same magic. He's trying to make that same type of music in a different way, and it's just not clicking like how it did the first time, because it just doesn't feel as authentic. You know, shit that he's trying to do in New Toronto 3, like some songs, or like Adidas or whatever, where he's trying to talk that story. It's like, people are like, oh, I'm feeling him. It's like, nah, you can't feel something that's just trying to be a pure plastic replica of the real deal. It's like when you see a PS4 and you see a cheap knockoff that's made after the initial release of the PS4. It's the same thing, or, you know, whatever is authentic. He had something authentic when he did Lost Cause and certain other projects where he was keeping it real, and eventually, like I said, he he got promoted in the sense of success as an artist, and like I said, got signed to a deal and all that. And I feel like that kind of messed with his head a bit, because obviously how he spoke about it, he was pretty naive about certain things and how to approach it. And he's kind of going through some growing pains right now, which I understand. Now, I have been very frustrated at times and impatient, and I definitely have reasons for having that. But I'm also aware that, that he's also a human being, and that the trials that he's going through are currently happening right now, and he has to fight his way through it. So if there's anything that I could really give out to help him really get his mind focused, it's just, most importantly, just kind of like take things back to square one. Sometimes taking a step backwards is necessary for you to take 3 steps forward. That's what I would definitely preach. And I would say, I get it. Like, I'm not saying that he's canceled like how everyone else is ignorantly saying. I mean, I still think that the Spotify numbers, he's getting success for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. Just from what he initially wanted to do in the first place. I feel like his own brand of music is what needs to be doing those numbers instead of what's borrowed trends, in my opinion. You can't tell me otherwise. He's definitely making music with what the industry is pushing. Let's just get that clear out the way. I just believe wholeheartedly that, if he just goes back to how he initially planned things, like I said, he had the idea of, he created this. Nobody else did but him. The idea of Swavy, where he said he wanted to mix multiple genres together, basically mixing all different types of sounds. Essentially, kind of like having a melting pot of music. To me, unison is the biggest form of life that you could ever present or showcase. And to me, that's what I felt like would make him on the top eventually, if he keeps being consistent about it. Because there's no doubt, this dude is really talented. Honestly, bro, like, he could do what, I'm gonna be blunt with you, something that people haven't seen since Michael Jackson walked on this earth breathing. All right, I don't know if he's got a lack of confidence in his mind, thinking that, because he's a black, I guess urban dude growing up like that, he can't have that same type of stature that Michael Jackson had. That's what I'm saying. You're wrong. Your doubts, the moment you doubt yourself and your dreams, that's when all else goes to hell. You can't really like lose faith in that. You know what I mean? So I just want to make that clear. Like, he's got to believe in that once more. I know he said he wasn't hungry, but I think that was a facade, if anything else. I think for a fact, deep down, he just doesn't know if he can do it, or if he feels like he's exhausted everything and he just doesn't want to do it anymore. I think it's a time when we feel like we don't know if we got it or whatever. That's when we need to be confident in ourselves, like in the most crucial times of all. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be the most confident in ourselves and learn to make the most out of the shittiest positions that we're in, rather than try to do the most, and do that YOLO crap. So that's where I'm like, there's a difference between making the most and doing the most. And I feel like he's kind of like trying to figure out this distinction between the two, but it's blurred lines for him. Like, he can't really tell if he's doing the most or making the most. So he's just kind of like proceeding through life as it is, and trying to live life. I get it. But like I said, for him to really understand, he's got to take a step back and really see things from a far distance and really kind of understand the environment. Because that's the thing that he always had back then, that I felt like he's got to be big in this world, is that he had that open world mentality. Like, dude was working with all kinds of producers from all over the world, for example, but like hitting different types of sounds here and there. Like, to me, International Fargo ain't nothing compared to what he was doing on Cruel Intentions, and doing songs with like a British group brand, or like a British group duo called Snake Hips. Obviously RL Grime, like working with the grime scene, doing some tropical vibes with Slow-Mo, or if he's working with Cashmere Cat on some kind of like Euro dubstep type of joint. Like, I told you, to me, I still got this motherfucker in here. I can't tell you how much, like, this really was a solid blueprint for him to pick up. This was his first bold step, into making that dream into a reality. And I felt like he was just getting started, like a baby's learning to walk. You know what I mean? Like being able to stand on your own feet and learn how to walk. That album represented that phase in his life. And I felt like he only got 5% of the sequence through. And I felt like somewhere between the 8% and 10%, he kind of like, I don't know if I got it, but it's like, dog, it's like, it's a whole long ass sequence and process. You gotta like keep being consistent and keep pushing that. Even if you feel like no one's really listening to your stuff when you was making Swavy, that's where like you gotta keep doing it, because sometimes it's not you, it's the fact is that they wasn't ready to hear that type of music yet, and that they still sleeping. And because of that, you gotta go and keep doing it, because one day they're gonna realize like, man, I wish there was some real music out here, when you was the answer the whole time. But you ain't got the answers in your book no more. You left it behind a long way back when you was in your journey, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's something I felt like I wish you didn't left behind. But I feel like at the end of the day, you have the ability to pull a U-turn, bro. And it's okay to do that, because we all need to pull a U-turn in our lives at some point. Go back on that. Pick that up. Pick up that Swavy blueprint that you left off a while back, and continue to go back on your path again. You'll see you'll progress a lot further. It may be rough at first, but once you get going, there's no doubt that, shoot, dude could really make the best music you've ever heard in your fucking life, man. That's really all I gotta say. I'm not gonna look forward to listen. I'm not gonna listen to the album, because I know what to expect out of it. And honestly, I don't want to give the perception that I'm doing this for views. I think I got my message loud and clear in this video, and one take is all I need, really, just to get what I feel, man. And I'm cool with that. I don't care if it's a 20-minute video. If that's all I have to do, fuck it. I'm not trying to do it serious. I'm not here to do views. I'm not trying to like promote myself on YouTube. I'm just here to kind of give a message to the man himself and see if he can digest this and take it for what it is. And that's just me being a messenger to deliver him what God wants him to hear, something that he needs to hear, not what he wants. So that's all I gotta say. But like I said, right now he's definitely thinking a lot smaller compared to what he used to think back then. That's all I'm saying. Like, his mind has regressed, and he's got to get that open world mentality once more. And I feel like once he takes a step back, kind of cut all the fat in his life that he's got right now, just get all that bougie BS out the way, to where you can really be hopefully yourself again in your soul, bro, and you could actually finally breathe fresh air internally and mentally. I think that's when he can truly go out there and be the best that he can be. You know what I mean? Like, don't let the idea of you being a black urban kid mean that you can't be successful in this world. Like, that's the thing. That's a small world mentality. Everyone wants to say, like, and that's really the biggest thing that's holding black folks back, in my opinion, is the fact that you think that everyone else is holding you back. Nah, the only one that's holding us back is us. If we allow our own doubts to prevent us, it's not them that created that idea. It wasn't that. It was some fabrication of some negative energy that wants to bring us down, that's allowing us. It's not from other people. You got to realize that. So instead of putting our blame on other folks, it's on us to really represent that, right? That's just how I personally feel. If I got you lost there, it's all good. It's best sometimes to lead by example rather than kind of like express by words. So I'd rather kind of like would rather you guys watch me and how I do things progressing through the years and see what I mean when I talk about that. But like I said, I think definitely, like with Michael Jackson, he wasn't thinking about the fact that he was a black man or anything like that. Yeah, he was black, but it was a part of his identity. It didn't make up for who he really is. You know what I mean? I think if Tory can really be comfortable with doing that again, being his whole self 100%, instead of just relying on that 5% of what really makes him, which is, like I said, the petty stuff like race and gender and all that, which is just the small stuff. It's a part of our DNA, but it's not really truly who we are in here, and in our heart, you know what I mean? So like, once he gets it all figured out, he gets his shit together, you guys will really get to experience the Tory Lanez that definitely I and a lot of folks have witnessed a few years back. That was just, you know what I mean, like I want to say like a pure explosion, something great and amazing to see, but it only lasted for a moment before it disappeared once more. So I think this time he's going to last for a lot longer than he did for, say, a 2-3 year period where he was really pushing out this swavy idea that he got going. I mean, like I said, it was phenomenal music. So good that I really couldn't listen to any other artist than him. Hands down. I'm dead serious. Like, you could ask the people that I was with at the time. I was bumping nobody but Tory Lanez, man. Lost Cause, Conflicts, Chicks Tape 2. I mean, if not, I'm listening to I Told You, Cruel Intentions, going. I mean, that was a great run. And I feel like he can do that, but 1,000 times better, and keep it 100 times running longer than, say, 3 years, man. I say he could do this for life, man. And you know what? He's going to be crowned the king for being consistent and believing in oneself to do that. All right, I'm done preaching, man. If you made it this far, hey, God bless you. That means you really felt the positive energy that I was really trying to put in here, and that's how I want to leave it as. Nothing else, nothing more, man. All right, stay safe and stay blessed, y'all. Deuces.